Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some spookiness to your internet this time. This is a video I've been wanting to do for a few days now, and just now got the opportunity to make it. It's going to be a twofold video. First, I'm going to start off with tips and tricks for those that are very new to the game or have not played it and maybe want to. Go over the equipment and the truck. Point out how things work. And then the second part of the video will be tips and tricks for doing professional solo missions. But if you're not up to doing professional, they should also work on intermediate and amateur. Speaking of which, I've dialed up, some of you that play will recognize that I'm at the high school. I've dialed up an amateur high school just so I can take my time out here and show off the equipment. If you'll notice, the first thing, the timer on amateur, you get a 5-minute timer. What that means is you have 5 minutes before the ghost can hunt or ramp up activity, become violent. On intermediate, it's a 2-minute timer. On pro, 0. They can start right off the bat being aggressive. So I'll start off with the equipment that I feel is good equipment and must-haves, and slowly get to those that I don't have a lot of use for. Before I get into that, though, I do want to give a shout out. A lot of these tips and tricks I got myself from other YouTubers that play the game. In particular, Dusk the Viking and Vintex, that's with 2 E's in the middle. Shout out to those two fellas. They're very good players, and Vintex especially is an extremely good solo player. I really enjoy watching him, and I've learned a lot watching him. So, without further ado, let's get into this. And we're going to start off with this piece of equipment. It is the thermometer, and of course, in the truck right now, it's not picking up any temperature, but you can set it in your settings before you start the game. In your settings, you can set it to read either Fahrenheit or Celsius. I set it to Fahrenheit because I'm American and I understand it better. And see, when I step outside, it is giving temperature readings. This single piece of equipment is the one that I always start off with because it reads so easily. And if you get a temperature variance, like I said, I use Fahrenheit. You'll have to translate to Celsius, but if I get a reading of about 55, 54 or below, I know I've got the area where the ghost is in, or I'm close. 50 or below, for sure, and sometimes that is one of your objectives, and we'll get into the board here in a minute. It's not an objective on this one, but sometimes it is to get a reading of 50 below, 10 below, I think, on Celsius. So when you get around 11 or 12 Celsius, I think would be probably a good indication that you're near where the ghost is at. I always start with this piece of equipment when hunting it, because it's just so easy to find the ghost with it. Now, they are going to nerf this in future, which I'm behind because it is a little bit OP. It's just so easy. But until they do, always start with a thermometer is my best advice. Also, little pro tip to throw in here, in these larger locations like the high school, asylum, and so forth, opening all the doors and stuff is not necessarily something you want to do, and we'll get into that when we get into the solo missions. But it also takes a lot of time. You do not have to open the door to read the temperature in the room. Just walk up to the door, point the thermometer at it, and it'll tell you. So yeah, must-have piece of equipment. And we'll get rid of that. Just drop it wherever it lands. The next piece of equipment is also one of the first things. I'll grab your loud 3 pieces of equipment. Your flashlight and two other pieces of equipment. This is the spirit book. If to get ghost writing, this is what you have to have. You walk into where you think the ghost is, and you press F and plop it down, and then you wait for it to get writing in it. Always, whether it's that or the spirit box, your first trip in, you always want to bring in something that you can just drop and leave, like the book, and not have to pay attention to it. Speaking of the spirit box, this is the spirit box. You can pick up the ghost's voice on here. It's also a piece of evidence to help tell which ghost you're at. And I guess while I'm saying that, since there might be some people that haven't played before, if you press J, it brings up your journal. You press this arrow here that looks double, and it takes you to this page, and you can put in what evidence you find. And as you find different pieces of evidence, like for instance ghost writing, you can go down here and it'll tell you what ghosts will fit that piece of equipment. As you get more evidence, like say EMF level 5, it narrows it down. See how there's not as many, there's 3. And of course the 3 piece of information you would have it. If you hit the back button, this is where your photographs that you take will show up. And if you go even further than that, there's little hints and tips there. And then it gets into the different ghosts. I recommend you getting very familiar with the ghosts and how they behave. That can be very, very instrumental in figuring out quickly what kind of ghost that you have. And the more you play, the more you'll become familiar with the different types of ghosts. But this is the spirit box. It's a radio that flips channels on a rapid basis, and you can pick up words and voices. And on the beta, actually, they've started putting the word on the screen when it says it, so you actually absolutely understand what they're saying. As you right-click it, you walk into a room, ask a couple of questions. If you don't get anything right away, just hit G and drop it. But I'll turn this off before I do that. Just drop it in the floor. That's fine. And then go on and get some more equipment or use another piece of equipment that you have. It'll be just fine. Now, one thing about the spirit box, the room does have to be dark. The lights have to be out in order for it to get a reading. So just bear that in mind. The next piece of equipment that I want to bring up is the UV light. Now, it'll be a little hard to see in here. You might be able to see that little purple circle. See that? It's like a flashlight, but it shines a black light. It's a UV light. This is what you use to find fingerprints. Now, if you've got a ghost that's messing with doors and light switches a lot, you can use this, shine it all over the door, shine it on both sides of the door, shine it on the fingerprints, and if the ghost is leaving any fingerprints, you'll find it. Also, in some locations, they'll leave fingerprints on the windows, so don't, like the houses, the suburban houses and stuff, don't neglect to check the windows. The farmhouses also. Very good piece of equipment. Very useful. The next piece of equipment I want to get to, which I mentioned it a minute ago, is the EMF reader. The EMF reader reads electromagnetic fluctuations in the air. It can also be one of your objectives, so it's important for that, but it's also a good investigative tool. If you right-click it, you see you get one light. If you start getting EMF fluctuations and so forth in the air, the lights will add up. It'll go up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, and then 5. 5, if it gets to 5, that's actually a piece of evidence, and you would enter that in your book. Once you get that 5, you're done with it. Boom. All right. Now the next piece can be just important because it is a piece of evidence. Is your video camera. That's this camera right here. Now, you have to right-click. See the red dot? You have to right-click it Make sure that it's on before you put it down. And I find that's a common mistake people make when they're not used to the game. Now you can put it down on a surface like this desk. If you left click, it'll turn it the direction you want to go, and then press F. And as you can see on the screen right there, it's actually picking up that camera. Or if you have tripod, which is, I'll mention it now because that's they go together. If you have a tripod, you can take the camera, walk over to the tripod, see the kind of silhouetted camera there. When it's there, press F, then move down to this part, and you can pick up the entire thing and put it where you want it. This is good for large areas like the high school here, or rooms big enough or without shelves to put the camera on. You just press G to drop it, or you can just switch your equipment, because that's one thing I want to tell you. If you're carrying a tripod, you switch your equipment, it will drop the tripod. The next piece of equipment is the still camera. That's this camera right here. It has 5 pictures. 5 pictures on each camera. You earn money by getting certain pictures. If you find a bone in a location, take a picture of it and then pick it up. Always pick it up because it's extra money. If you activate the Ouija board, you find one and then take a picture of it. If a phone rings and you catch it real quick, you can take a picture of that, earn money. Take a picture of fingerprints on the doors of the light switch. In the farmhouses, there's a voodoo doll. If you pick it up first, I had trouble figuring out how to get this to work, but if you pick it up first and then throw it back down and take a picture of the voodoo doll, and it'll fly all over the place, then you get extra money for that. If you get an interaction, you use it to get pictures of ghosts, all sorts of things. And it can also be one of your objectives here, but it's not this time, but it can be. There's 5 pictures on each camera. You only have room for 10 pictures in your book, in your evidence book, so there's no point bringing more than 2. Well, you can bring more than 2, but it's only 10 are going to go in that book. So just bear that in mind. The next piece of equipment, and I'll bring this up because it is sometimes as you can see, it's up there. It says motion sensor. Detect a ghost with the motion sensor. This is your motion sensor, the one with the red light up in the corner. You just pick that up. You walk up to a wall. It's probably not going to work here, but you'll see a silhouette of it there, and then you just press F in order to place it. If a ghost moves in front of it, it will trigger it, and that'll go away. It'll also put a green line in the room that you're there, or a red line that will turn green when a ghost walks in front of it. Good piece of equipment, but I only use it if it's one of the objectives. Don't see any point in using it otherwise. Now we're almost out of the ones that I find to be useful. This is a smudge stick, and with a smudge stick you must also use a lighter, which is there. As you can see, one of our objectives here is to cleanse the area near the ghost using the smudge stick. Once you have the ghost narrowed down, you know what room it's in, what area it's in, you can smudge the area, and that objective will get ticked off. Now, it's a little glitchy sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't take the first time around. I have found that the best thing to do is to walk around once the area with the smudge stick and then just throw it down on the floor. That tends to work 99% of the time. In order to light it, you must have your lighter in your inventory, switch to your smudge stick, and press F, and it looks like that. It's just a bunch of incense and stuff. That can be one of the objectives, and there are some ghosts that you will find that have different reactions to smudging. So it can be important to use it also in narrowing down which ghost it is. That's a smudge stick. Also, one of the objectives that you can have, as we do here, to prevent the ghost from hunting with a crucifix. Now, a lot of YouTubers that I watch online don't do the crucifix objectives because it is hit or miss. It's very hit or miss. And I find a lot of new players have a hard time figuring out just how the crucifix works. This is how it works. It has a 3-meter radius. It does not work when you hold it. It does nothing for you at all when you hold it. You put it down in a room once you have it narrowed down where you think the ghost is. And it's usually best if you've actually seen the ghost to put it in that area. You drop it on the floor, and for a 3-meter radius, if the ghost tries to spawn in and hunt you from that radius, it will stop it. Now, each crucifix only has 2 charges on it, so once it stops the hunt twice, it will disappear. I don't have any problem if I've got time to run back, grab a couple of crucifixes, drop it in the room, and just leave them, because you just leave them to let it work. If it works, it works. If it doesn't mark off, I don't spend a lot of time in trying to get it to mark off, because it's only like $10 you get from that. Another piece of equipment that can be useful, which is situational, is this here. This is a glow stick. If you right click, see it glows purple. You can also see fingerprints, but what it's most useful for is when you put salt down, and we'll get to that in a second, and ghosts walk through it, you can actually see their fingerprints. So if you're going to use the glow sticks, a good way to use them is to put the salt down and then put the glow stick next to the salt pile so you can see if any footprints form. Now, that's useful in one in particular situation. If you think you have a wraith, but you don't have all 3 pieces of information, throw down a salt pile. Now, a wraith will mess the salt pile. It'll put footprints in it, but it won't leave any footprints outside of the salt pile itself. So if you see a salt pile disturbed, excuse me, if you see a salt pile disturbed but you don't see any footprints around it, then you probably got a wraith. Like I said, you can see fingerprints with it and stuff. You've got to get right up close, and the UV light is much more useful for that, but you can use it in a pinch. And since I've just talked about it, this is your salt. The salt has each can has 3 charges in it. You can barely see maybe the pile there. You put it in doorways or in an area that you think the ghost is going to walk through, and you press F, and it's got 3 charges. Once that's done, you just throw it away. Now, when a ghost walks through it, they'll leave a single footprint or like a double footprint, something like that in there. It'll be disturbed, and you won't have any problem telling it. I only use salt on those occasions when I think I have a wraith, and I just can't narrow it down. That brings us to the candle, which is here. But in order to use a candle, you must first light it. And to light it, you light your lighter, walk up to, whoop, I picked it up, big dummy. And I don't seem to, what in the world is going on? Alright, well, the candle isn't performing correctly for me. Isn't that embarrassing? And it should be. But anyway, you light it with the lighter. I rarely use them. It can be used in place of a flashlight, but it only gives off a very small radius. And if you've played this game or seen it played, you know it's very dark in many of these locations. You can't even see your hand in front of your face. So, yeah, I don't know why it's not working. Oh well, maybe I got a glitchy candle. We'll give it one more shot here. And it just doesn't want to work, does it? Oh well. There we go. Yeah. Alright. Guess we could hold it in our hand. But you can walk around with it. You can see it's not going to put off much. It probably won't show off very well out here because it's kind of light out. It's the moon. As you can see, it's just a very small radius of light. One thing the candle does do, however, is it keeps your sanity up a little higher. Lets it drain slower. Don't know why that is, but that's just the way it works. And they will go out in time, and if you try to move too fast with them, you can blow them out. So that's the candle. Last but not least are flashlights. Now, everybody starts with a regular flashlight. This is the regular flashlight. You pick it up, you point it, right click, gives you a light. Okay. And also, a question a lot of new players ask is, how do you get a flashlight to light when you're holding another piece of equipment? We'll just pick up this camera here just to show. Flip to the camera. You see there's no flashlight. As long as you have a flashlight in your inventory, press T and it'll show. Alright. However, another question that people often ask is, what should I buy first when they start getting some money? What should I buy first? And that brings us to the strong flashlight. The strong flashlight works just like the regular flashlight, but it's much stronger. See the light there for the regular flashlight? Watch this. Much stronger, much brighter, bigger area. It is a must-have. And in my opinion, the first thing that you should buy is the strong flashlight. Get it in your inventory, carry it, and then the next thing you should buy is the thermometer, because you'll need it for not only for evidence, and it being the best evidence, easiest to get evidence around, it can be one of your objectives. So I would my personal opinion is buy a strong flashlight first. Alright, and those show up on the bottom shelf, the regular flashlights on the second shelf. Now we're getting into stuff that I don't have a lot of use for normally, and we're going to start with the sanity pills. Now, I do use sanity pills on occasion. You come in and you look, see my sanity's 100% now because I haven't went inside and started the investigation. But if it gets low, like say 50% or lower, maybe 60% on professional, the ghost can start to hunt. And if you're not finished getting your equipment up, I will go in and take sanity pills. So just pick them up and right click it and it'll swallow them. I'm not going to do that now. But then that'll raise your sanity by 40 points. Okay? It works 40 points. Now, on professional, your sanity does go down a lot quicker. Like I said, if you're not through setting up your equipment or getting your information, you might want to pop some sanity pills. Now, I like to get interactions out of the ghosts, so I often run around with low sanity. So I don't use them unless I have to. Right? It's not that they're worthless, it's just they're very situational for me. This piece of equipment is the parabolic microphone. Now, in theory, it's a good piece of equipment because you're supposed to be able to point at different directions and pick up any sounds. And in large locations like the high school, that could be very useful, right? You right click it and turn it on, you see that display, it'll show numbers. It's very glitchy, it picks up sounds it shouldn't, doesn't pick up sounds it should, and you can go out here, and it's not doing it right now, but sometimes you can even point it off in the distance over here and it'll have a reading. So yeah, I almost never use the parabolic microphone. It's just not very useful. In the time that you spend trying to get that, you could be hearing it with your own ears. And we'll get more into that with that part of it when I do the solo. This piece of equipment is a light that is set off when a ghost walks in front of it or a person walks in front of it. And it's just a very low radius light, and it's only on while you're standing in front of it. I guess it could be useful if you've got a very low light area and you want to have a little safe area, or whatever, but I never ever use them. It goes up on the wall the same way that the motion sensor does. This piece of equipment is the sound sensor. Another piece that I never ever ever use. It's a good idea in theory, but in practice it really lacks something. It also goes on the wall just like the motion sensor does. And when you come into your truck, this is your map. Whatever location, it'll have a map. And if you press this little button over here, it will change the floor. A motion or a sound sensor, wherever you put it up, it'll cover about a quarter of this map. And this is the high school. But by the time you get 4 of them set up to cover the whole map, you could have already found the ghost. So I just don't have much use for them, and unless they buff it somehow, make it more useful to use, I just don't use one. That is all the equipment save one. This is a head-mounted camera. Rarely use this as well unless I'm playing with other players in a large location such as the high school here, maybe. Or for sure the asylum. Now it puts a camera just like these. It shows these cameras here. It shows in night vision, and it shows your point of view. Now, the reason I don't use it often is because it can be very hard to spot any orbs through it, because people are looking around, and actually it can get quite dizzy. So I don't use that very often, but that's what they are. They're not useless, it's just they're a little hard to use. Now that I've gone through the equipment, let's go through what's at the truck. Now, I've already showed you the screen. See this number up here? That tells you how many cameras they are and what camera you're on. This is the high school, so it has 15 base cameras. It's the one outside. If you left click on the mouse there, it will change the camera. If you left click on the keyboard, it turns off the night vision. So you can cycle through the cameras. It'll tell you camera 2, number 16, and so forth on the map. On professional levels, this is amateur, so the ghost isn't even going to get active until you get out there. But what you use this for is for looking for ghost orbs. Ghost orbs look like little dust mites, little points of glowy light that just float across the screen randomly. And when you spot those, you have ghost orbs. That's a piece of evidence you can put in your evidence book. As you can see in the high school, it has a lot of different areas that it can cover. Also, no matter what map you're in, if it has cameras in it, and usually you only have a lot of cameras in the big locations, the high school and the asylum. If you see these little yellow squares, like in the center of the screen there, those are the cameras. And if you look for the one that's green, and they can be hard to spot too. If you look for the one that's green, and it's that one that at the top, right in the entrance. And by the way, the map will be backwards from where you enter it. So if we went up to the high school right now, and we look, there's the main entrance, there's an entrance to the left, there's an entrance to the right. If you look at the map, it's turned around. This is your main entrance up here. This is the right entrance, and that's the left entrance. So you see that little green thing up there? That's the camera that we're on. Maybe show you on one a little easier to see here. If we look, see, yeah, okay, right there, the green camera is the one that we're looking from. So if someone's in here cycling through the cameras and they spot a ghost orb and you haven't found the ghost room yet, they can say, hey team, go down this hallway, go that way, whatever, and guide them to it. Another interesting piece of information on the maps, if you see the larger green square, that is your fuse box, your circuit breaker, and the ghosts, many of them will cut the power, and you can, you know, if you go there and they're cutting the power, you can go back, you can find it on the map and go there and turn it back on. And there's also ghosts like the Djinn. The Djinn is probably the second fastest ghost in the game, but if you cut the power, the Djinn can't use its special abilities. So it can be very important to know where the power box is. The first thing that you will pay attention to, though, when you come into the truck, when you start a mission, this is your whiteboard. The top one always says discover what type of ghost we are dealing with. That's, you know, where you use your book, figure out what kind of ghost. This one in particular says detect a ghost presence with a motion sensor, cleanse the area near the ghost with smudge sticks, prevent the ghost from hiding with a crucifix. These are your objectives, and these can change with each mission. It'll tell you what you have to do. And then down here you will find the name. This one's name is George White. You want to know the name in case you're not getting very much activity out of it. You can call its name out and it will respond or do something or get more aggressive. Using its name ticks it off. The more you use it, the more ticked off it will get. So be prepared. Use its name too much, it's going to hunt you. It's going to come after you. But it can be very helpful in the right situations and used properly. So that's where you will find that information. Here is your sanity board. Now there's only me in here, but if I had a team, there would be indicators for each person. You can tell them where their sanity's at, and like I said, you want to get concerned when it gets around 50% or maybe 60% on professional. This is your activity. It's an EMF reader for the entire location. This will tell you how active the ghost is, and it will rise all the way from 0, it's flatline now, all the way up to 10. 9.9% of the time, if it gets to 10, that means you're in a hunt. And in a hunt, the ghost will lock the front door, the lights will flash, flashlights will flash, and it will be hunting you. If it catches you, you're dead. While it's in a hunt, the people in the truck cannot communicate with the people inside. It cuts off all communications through the walkie-talkies. The screen above it is where you will find the sound sensors, which I pointed out a minute ago, that one over there. Put sound sensors up. Down here saying sensor 1, it'll say like girls' restroom, first floor, or whatever, and there'll be a bar that goes up right here to show you that it's hearing sound. The other thing I don't like about sound is it won't even tell you if it's upper floor or bottom floor or whatever. And many of the locations have more than one floor, so it's just another reason I don't find it none too helpful. This is the keypad. It's how you open the door, which I already had it opened when this video started. At the end of it, when everybody you think you've got the ghost figured out, you're done, you want to end the investigation, everybody's got a pick, you walk in, you click that button, and it shuts the door. And then you can walk over here and watch that top list, the top of the list where it says discover what type of ghost you're dealing with, and that will disappear before you leave if you got the right ghost. It'll also tell you once you spawn back into your base. Now, having said that, it is time for us to get back to our base. We're not going to actually do this mission because it's just amateur. I just wanted to go here so I can show you your equipment. I'll catch you when we get back there. Alright, we're back at our base. This is your whiteboard at the base. You look around, you can see the rest of the base. There are some things you can mess with. You can throw around or try to stack the paint cans. Also, there's a basketball that can be shot. You can tell I don't shoot it very often, but some people have very high scores up there, and you can only see your own score. So it's just something to do while you're waiting to do missions. But you'll have your whiteboard here. It'll have the names of everybody. I have seen it do differently than this once in a while, but it was only once. Generally, the person whose job it is to pick the mission will be at the top of the list. And you'll see select job. And you click, if you click on the board or you hit space, you can hit the space bar. You can hit space bar almost from anywhere in the garage. I go over here, hit the space bar, boom, takes me right to it. You hit select job, and it'll tell you what jobs you have available. You click on each one, it'll tell you the level and some things about it. If you don't like that one, you go to the next one. See, there's professional high school, and that's probably the one we're going to do here in a minute. And if you don't like that one, though, however, you can go back to another one. Sometimes there's less. I've seen only 2 jobs on the board before. I've seen it filled up with like 5 jobs. It just doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason. If you're doing solo missions, if you don't like what's there, you can leave, start another private server. It'll give you a new list of jobs, and just keep doing that until you get the jobs you want. You can also do that if you're in a group. If the top person's not getting any good jobs, they can leave, go back out, put in the code there, and come back in, and the next person in line will be at the top picking their jobs. Now, here you have the screen where you buy things. Now, I don't need to buy anything, but I'll show it to you. Let's say I want to buy an EMF reader. It will tell me how many I owe. It also tells you how much money you have, and you can hit purchase. I think you can buy up to 10 items of each thing, 10 of each item. Never tested it, but I've seen that be the case with other YouTubers. Once you have your items done, you can, well, let's go ahead and show high school. We're going to do that one, and selected it. Nope, I thought I selected it. I didn't. Big dummy. Select. There we go. See, so it's Brownsville High School Professional. And the first thing you want to do is go over here where it says add. You already start out. See, everybody starts out with this basic equipment. 1 EMF reader, 1 flashlight. That's a regular flashlight. 1 photo camera, 1 UV light, 1 video camera, 1 spirit box, 1 ghostwriting book. And you see there's no thermometer on there. There's no strong flashlight. None of that other stuff. So you can go here to your add button, and it'll show you how many of those items you have, and you hit the plus to add it. Now, here in ours, since we're doing a large location, I like to bring at least 3 cameras. We already have 1, so I'm going to add 1 or 2. Bring 1 lighter in case there's smudge stick needs to be done. Don't need a UV light. I'm not going to bring candles. I will bring 2 crucifixes in case that is an objective. Oh, that was the photo camera. Big dummy, already got 1. I only need 1, because you only need 2. This is your video cameras. I like to bring 3. 1, 2, 3. Don't need another spirit box. I usually don't bring salt, but I'll bring some just in case we got a wraith or something. I'll bring all my smudge sticks because sometimes it doesn't take and you have to do it more than once. I've brought 3 video cameras and there'll already be 1, so I don't necessarily have to put them all on tripods, so I'll just add 3. 1 strong flashlight's all I need. 2 motion sensors, a thermometer, and all the sanity pills. And then once you have everything done that you want to use, you can hit the back button. While I'm looking at this, one other useful thing for the glow stick is if you're in a group, people are having a hard time finding the room, you found the ghost. You're trying to tell them where it's at, you're in a large location and they're having a problem finding it, you can take a glow stick and throw it out in the hallway in front of the door and help them find their way. So it is useful in that as well. So back. So that's how you get your equipment. Once you're ready, you hit ready up, and then it'll show ready. And then once you're ready to start, you'll hit start. But I'm going to pause for just a minute to do that because my stupid recorder will only record an hour and a half, and we're at 42 minutes. And so I'm going to restart the recorder. I will meet you right back here. And welcome back. This half of the video then is going to be tips and tricks for solo missions. As I said, it's particularly for professional, but they should work for intermediate and amateur as well. Now, before we go in, I do want to say this, that playing solo is a completely different game than playing on a team. Because a team, well, you have teamwork. You don't need to have everybody equipped with the same piece of equipment. In fact, I recommend that you don't, unless you've got more than one person carrying a thermometer and you're in asylum trying to figure out where it is because it's such a large area. But, for the most part, you can spread it out and everybody can bring different equipment. And that way you can get set up a lot quicker. In solo, you are the only one. It's just you. You're the one that has to get it set up, and you have to try to do so quickly before the ghost starts to hunt you. And if you happen to be unlucky enough to dial up a demon, you may find it difficult to get back out of the house alive to get the rest of your equipment once it does start to hunt. So it's a whole different animal, a whole different play style. Although some of the tips and tricks can play over to team play, these are particularly meant for solo play. So having said that, we are still set to play the Brownstone High School on professional level. I hope we're able to find the ghost quickly. I'm going to give you some tips on how to find the ghost quickly in the larger locations. And but you never know. They're not 100% accurate. They don't always work, but they work more often than not. So we've got all our equipment already there. We're readied up, and all we have to do is press the start button. I'll see you at the location.
We've arrived. Check the equipment and get set up before investigating. And remember to check the whiteboard for help. I've got a report that suggests a possible ghost sighting.
Alright, the reason I was quiet there was to let you listen to what the dispatcher said there. He can sometimes, now he wasn't very helpful there, he told us we had a ghost sighting. Well, duh, that's why we're here. But sometimes it can be useful information. Sometimes he'll tell you there's been reports of violence. So you know that you're going to be in for a hectic investigation when you hear that. So the first thing you do when you arrive is you look up here on your board. It tells me I need to detect a room below 50 Fahrenheit with a thermometer, find evidence of the paranormal with the EMF, and all you got to do is get a hit of 2, just a level 2, that's all it takes. Cleanse the area near the ghost using smudge sticks. All of those objectives are very doable, and we should get it. And we look here and we see that his name is Richard Robinson. And I'll bet you I'll forget that name before I get too far, especially since I'm trying to talk and do this all at the same time. Now, before we do start, a little pro tip for you, and it is one of the things that's different about solo play from playing with a team. Solo play, the ghost can hear you through your microphone whether you have the push to talk button pushed or not. That's right, he can hear you through your microphone. So if you're in a hunt and you're hiding and somebody in the room coughs and your microphone picks it up, it can give you away. So I'm going to be in there talking the whole time, so I'll probably really aggravate this ghost. He'll probably be ready to really kill me by the time we get done. But that's, hey, suffer for your art, right? So the first thing I do is grab a couple of cameras, turn the green light on before I put them on the tripod, put one there, bring up the next one, and you could switch. There's 2 ways to switch equipment. I use the mouse wheel, just scroll the mouse wheel, it will switch between them, or you can hit Q, it will scroll between them. So I like to get a couple of cameras already set up and ready to go. You always want to get the key. Can't count how many times I've got all the way up to the door and can't open it because I didn't pick up the key. Now, since this is professional, you can scroll through the cameras if you want to take the time. Maybe pick up a ghost orb. That's the gymnasium. I have yet to have a ghost in gymnasium. And I'm glad, because it is too large. It would be hard to cover. But I'm not going to sit here and scroll through all the cameras right now. I'm going to try to find the ghost, and then we'll get our cameras set up and so forth. As I pointed out, starting out at 100 sanity, and there is no activity in there as of yet. So my starting equipment is, as usual, the book. Unless I'm playing with someone. If I'm playing with Alex, he gets the book first, and in that case, I'll grab the spirit box. But you want to grab at least one piece that can just be dropped and left. And then I pick up the thermometer. And I want to be sure, because I've often got up there and said, crap, I forgot my flashlight. Pick up a strong flashlight. Turn on the thermometer. Turn on my flashlight. Open the door. Hold the shift key, it will sprint. This is regular walking, this is sprint. Yes, that's all you get in this game. Just that little bit. So we'll go in here, open the door, turn on some lights so we can preserve our sanity. And I always walk up here until I'm in the middle of this hallway. What you want to do is very useful, especially here or asylum in large locations, but it works in the smaller ones as well. Call the name out of the ghost, which I have already forgot. I told you. We're going to go back and get his name. Ah, my memory. They could speed it up a little bit, and I'd be fine with that. I understand why it goes slow. It adds to that ghost hunt you. Oh my gosh, I can't get away. Richard Robinson. Richard Robinson. So we're going to go in, we're going to call his name, ask a couple of questions, and then we're going to be absolutely silent and listen. Get up here. Richard Robinson. Richard Robinson. Ooh, we already got some. He's turning off lights. Did he turn off lights or did he cut the power? Oh, cut the power. We may have some air. Got some lower temperatures, but not so low. I'd say this is it. Richard Robinson. See, we got a phone. I can't tell if it's upstairs or down, but it gives us a direction. I think maybe it was upstairs. Hearing some doors being active, see? Not in there. Not in there. See, you can read the temperature. I don't think it was there. I think it's upstairs. I'm going to look here real quick to see if this is... No. In the high school, the circuit box is almost always under one of the stairwells. So that's why I was looking there. Go upstairs. And what we want to do is look for any open doors. Give me a sign. Open doors, lights on that you know you didn't turn on. That's why it's a good idea not to open doors and start turning on lights everywhere you go. Now that can be tough to do when you're playing with a team. Because, you know, people want to have fun and they're yakking and carrying on. But if you can get them just be quiet for the first little bit, I don't think it was this far down, but we'll go a little further down. No. Richard Robinson. Maybe it was further back up here. I'm sorry, the reason I'm being quiet is I'm listening. Listening for opening doors, footsteps, anything I can hear. Really don't like having to walk in the dark because my Sandy's going to be shot before I get a chance to get all set up. Now that's a bathroom. You may say, well, why are you checking the bathroom? It was a phone ringing. Because they can reach across the hall. Oop, I heard something this way. Maybe it was downstairs. I'll cut back to the stairway real quick. Well, as quick as this slow shuffle will take me. And you want to learn the maps as quickly as possible because that will aid in your escape in these large locations. Unless it's a revenant. Ooh, I did hear a door. Did I open that door? I don't remember. I I think I did. In these large locations, unless it's a Revenant or amped up Jinn, you can outrun them. So, nothing to be afraid of here. Oh, we're getting activity because I'm getting a couple. Yep, there's the phone ring. Thank you. Thank you. Here we go. See, it's a door I did not open. We have freezing temperatures. Put that in our book. And then I'll just drop that here in case I need to use it again. See, and you can see your breath. Freezing temperatures. Now we want to put our book down. Get a surface. Place it with an F. Now we want to head out as fast as we can, get more information, get more equipment, and check our sanity. So, because I bet as much wandering around as we were doing in here, it's probably taken a hit. And this is as fast as I can go. Now on high school, these indoors will glitch sometimes and you can't open them. Very frustrating when that happens. That time we got it open. Usually happens after a hunt or two. So we've already got freezing temperatures. We'll go in, we'll take another look at our board, see what objectives we have. See, we've already marked one off because it was the thermometer. We got below 50. We'll pull the EMF reader in, but we'll do it later because you have to walk around with it. So it's a process. And I want to get other equipment in there first. Oh yeah, we're already at 64. Now see, here's a case where I will take the sanity pills. It'll raise it by 40. See? Because I'm not even set up yet. So I want to get a spirit box, and I will get a camera to set up in there. Oh, yeah, you have to have your equipment on an empty hand or it's not going to pick that up. So we don't want to spend any more time than we have to in the high school since activity is ramping up. So we'll go back down to this indoor because it's closer. Since he's cut the power, I can't turn the lights on. That's okay though, we'll get through it. If he hunts, we'll just run and hope it's not a Revenant. Which it would not be a Revenant with freezing temperatures, I'm pretty sure. Might be a demon though. We could get trapped in here. There's our location. Best place to put the camera in here is in this back corner. Try to catch the door. All that stuff, and all you gotta do is face where you want it to face. Press G. Boom, it's down. Give me a sign. Are you here? Stepping over there. Where are you? Oh, he's knocked our book around but not wrote in it. Not getting anything. Where are you? Okay, we won't spend any more time in that. So we'll just throw it down there. It'll still work, even though we're not holding it. So be there when we get back. Go back for more. We'll probably grab that EMF now. and the UV light to look for fingerprints. But we're first going to take a look on the cameras to see if we picked up any ghost orbs. As much information as you can get and as quick as you can get it helps the investigation go quicker. Because I might find, if I do get ghost orbs, that I don't need to check for fingerprints, or I don't have to worry about the spirit box. See? Because it narrows down what ghosts are left and what information you need for it to beat that ghost. So we're going to go over here, and our camera will be at the last of the list. To see it's up 5 to 17. Ours will probably be 17 to 17. So we'll click it until it gets there. And you have to have, no, it's 16 to 17. You have to have the lights out in the room, or you're probably not going to see the ghost orbs. And you sit and watch for a minute. Ghost orbs can be finicky. I might take another camera up there to catch the outside of the classroom. Oh, see, he's moving books all over the place, knocking them off. He's active. Very active. I'm not seeing any ghost orbs yet. That's okay, we can come back and check it again. 93. His activity is ramping up pretty good though. But I'm not scared. We'll grab our EMF and we'll grab the UV light. Take one more peek at the camera. And nothing. So we'll head back in with our EMF and our UV lights. And again, we'll take the shortest distance within the school itself, because while you're outside, it does not affect your sanity. It's not. So on high school, you want to take the shortest amount of time in the school. On the asylum, you have no choice. There's only one entrance. On the smaller locations, often there's only one entrance. But there could be back doors, but they might not be closer. So, turn on our EMF, just to be ready. Get close because they can hear the spirit box. And we got a 3. That's not a 5, but that will give us our objective that was on the whiteboard. Since we got that much, we'll just drop it there and try to land it where you can see the lights, because you can still trigger it on the floor. Now we're going to bring up our UV light. We're going to look on the doors on both sides. See, we have handprints. I got to remember to get a picture of that. You could also look on the light switch, whichever way the light switch was, I didn't see. You can see them with the lights with your flashlight on. They are usable at the same time. Huh, I don't know where the light switch is in here. Isn't that funny? While I'm here, if one of the ejections was a motion sensor, I have the best luck putting it right near a doorway. So put it up there. We have fingerprints, so we can put that in our evidence box. And once we get out to the truck in more relative safety, we don't need that anymore. So we can ditch that. Once we get to the truck, we'll look at what our options are, and then you can figure out what you need to complete the investigation. I think that should be all of our objectives, except for smudging. I want to be sure to remember to get a picture of that handprint because that's more money. I am told that sometimes there are bones and Ouija boards in the school as well and in the asylum, but I've never found them. They are so huge, both of them, and so I don't spend too much time. I don't get worried about that. Alright, let's look. Yes, the only thing left is the smudge sticks. Let's take another look at our camera. Okay, and pull up our evidence book. Now, we've got freezing temperatures, we got fingerprints. That leaves us with either a wraith, a banshee, wraith or banshee. So for a wraith, we would need, get back here, whoops, did I pass it? No, dummy. Well, we come across banshee first. We already have the freezing temperatures and the fingerprints. We would need an EMF level 5. That's probably the most likely. For wraith, we would also need the spirit box, which hasn't talked yet, but it doesn't mean it won't. We could also, if we're having a hard time narrowing it down, see wraiths have a toxic reaction to salt, and they're the ones that float, so you won't see footsteps. So we could, if we have a hard time figuring it out, put some salt up there with a stick next to it, with a glow stick. But we're not to the point where we need to do that just yet. So we're going to go in and get our smudge sticks. There. And there. Go in up here. Now you'll notice when I use my equipment, I just drop it over. You don't need to carry it back to the truck. You're not going to lose it. It all comes back to you. And there's just no use in having it in your hands. You want to pick up more equipment. Plus some of that equipment you may want to use again. Like for instance, I dropped the EMF in there. I will definitely want to use that again. Because it's one of the things it could be. And I can hear it going off, by the way. Hear it? We might get dirty water in a sink. That'll also be more money. Alright. Light our... I hear you bouncing around. You don't like me being here, do you? And we'll just drop that. That should be good enough. It's only a 3. Oh, there's a 5. There's a 5. Alright, we know what kind of ghost it is. Now all we gotta do is go out, get the camera, get pictures of that fingerprint, get pictures of the phone when it rings like that, although it might be too late while we get back. You can get money for an interaction photo, and maybe get a picture of the ghost. That's money too. So you get outside, and then we'll put that in our book. EMF 5 tells us that is a banshee, and a banshee will have some things that are specific to it. Each ghost does. It's a natural hunter, will attack anything, so it is dangerous. It has been known to stalk its prey one at a time. That can be a clue if you're in a group, if it just keeps hunting the same person over and over. They have a fear of the crucifix and will be less aggressive when near one. I'm not going to put a crucifix in there because I actually want it to hunt me. More chance of getting the picture. Let's go back, make sure that the smudge sticks took, and get our still camera. still camera. And yep, all the objectives are marked off. There we go. Where's our sanity at? 74. Jeez, it's not dropping very fast, is it? I'm gonna go ahead, since I've got room to grab it, I'll grab both cameras. And to take a picture with the still camera, you just right click. I don't want to waste the film doing it now, but you'll see. Not in too much danger with hunting right now with a sanity of 74. It could. I mean, it can hunt at 100%. I've seen it happen, but it's not like that. Generally, will not go into a hunt until your sanity is at lower levels. Get down this long walk. Now you may say, how can you be calm? And trust me, the hair stands up on the back of my neck. Like that right there. Yeah, that gets me. I just don't show it. Alright, we want to get a picture of the back of the door because of the fingerprints. Bam, right click. We'll check our journal. See if it counted. Yes, fingerprints. Boom. We're going to get a picture of the phone. Probably too late now. We're going to try. See if that took. Nope, just a picture of the phone. It would say interaction if that took. We're going to hang around here and see if we can't get the ghost to show itself. Give me a sign. And I've already forgot its name. You know I have. Or else I'd be using it right now. Where are you? Shut this off. Need that. Where are you? Show yourself. Also, while we're on the spirit box, you can use it from outside the room. You can actually use it from a long distance away, and it will reply. And the room it's in does not have to be dark, but the room you're in asking it the questions does. There, oh, we missed him. Do that again. Do that again. Where are you? I wasn't fast enough. That sounded like it was in that room, which is possible. Give me a sign. Where are you? Show yourself. There's some stepping out in the hall. Is that you? If you're wondering why I'm standing in the doorway, I'm brave, I'm not stupid. I'm going to give myself room to run. And he might be spawn out in that hallway. I have no way of knowing. Hallway ghosts are not uncommon, and they're a pain in the butt. And when a hunt does start, give me a sign. You have 8 seconds to get away before it starts its hunt in earnest. So from the second the lights start flashing, run. You have 8 seconds. Give me a sign. Where are you? Show yourself. Scream. Wished I could remember his name. I think it was Richard Robinson. Let me try that. Oh, I heard some stepping when I said that. Richard Robinson. Richard Robinson. Richard Robinson. Show yourself. Now the reason I paused, if you use their name, it only registers with the game as antagonizing the ghost. So if you really want to answer a question, should get an interaction with that. We'll check when we get back to the truck. If you're really wanting to ask a question, you've got to leave a pause between its name and the question you want to ask, or it'll only recognize that you're antagonizing it. Richard Robinson. Show yourself. Are you scared? Don't want books around. Do you want to hurt me? Richard Robinson. He ain't liking it. Oh, we got a hunt. Not too worried. I can outrun this guy. We'll get up here and break line of sight. See? Now he can catch up again. Once you break line of sight, they get confused and don't know where you're at. Are you going to catch back up? Can I get a picture of you? Richard Robinson. That was a quick hunt, actually. Let's switch to the other camera. Another hunt. See, cut line of sight. Might have got the ghost pick, even though you can't see it, the game might have picked it up. There he is. Let's head out the front door here. See if any of those caught the ghost. If not, I'm going to give up there. That's the hard part when they're flashing so quick like that. It is hard to get the camera. Didn't get the yeah, see, got the ghost in that picture, even though I can't see it. The game recognizes that I took a picture of it. So we got everything we're going to get out of this, and we're going to go back. And we're going to make sure that I have it chosen. It's a Banshee, everything's picked, all of our objectives are done. You've now done a solo high school professional. Take that, see if it disappears. About the time you hear the tire noise. Tires. There we go, we got it. And that, folks, is how you do a solo mission. Like I said, the biggest thing is going in, and big thumbs up to Vintex for teaching me this. Go in, say its name once or twice, ask a question, and then be silent and listen. 9 times out of 10, you will hear something. Might be faint, but it'll be there. Door closing, water running, footsteps. It might throw something, just something, and it'll give you an idea of which direction to go. And you've seen it in that mission there. I thought I heard noise to my right, started heading that way, and then got a phone ringing, and was for sure it was that way. My only mistake was I thought it was upstairs, went up there, wasted a little time upstairs. But no big deal, no harm, no foul. I was in the right general area to begin with, so we found it fairly quickly. Anyway, that's my tips and tricks. If there's anything I did not answer and you wanted to know, ask down in the comments. I will try to answer it if I know the answer to it. You can see we've got $30 for the first objective. That was for figuring out the ghost. $10 for the other additional. $20 on the photos. Got $10 on insurance. And got 190 experience. Now, I do know that they're cutting the experience in half coming up. It's already in the beta. And I'm okay with that. You do level really quick early on. There's nothing to look forward to. I mean, you're already able to do professional missions by the time you hit level 20 or so. So, and that just seems a little quick to me. But anyway, that's my opinion. Anyway, that's all the tips and tricks, okay, talk, that I have. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helps you enjoy the game. And until then, get out of my yard.